December 15th, 1967, a bridge collapsed into the Ohio River. 46 people died. But in the decades since, the victims and the failure of the structure aren't what people in Point Pleasant remember most. For 13 months leading up to that afternoon, something had been circling the town, something with wings and eyes the color of red fire. When the bridge fell, the sightings stopped. The creature was never seen in the town again. Witnesses described a 7-foot humanoid that could keep pace with cars and rise into the sky without flapping its wings. This leaves two possibilities. Either Point Pleasant was being hunted by a literal monster, or the community was experiencing a collective psychological reaction to a threat they couldn't yet see. To find an answer, we have to map the exact timeline of those 13 months, working backward from the point of collapse. That investigation begins in November 1966, with the very first reported encounter. On November 12, 1966, a group of grave diggers in Crendon watched a massive, human-shaped figure move rapidly from tree to tree directly over their heads. 3 days later, the phenomenon appeared 60 miles away. 2 young couples were driving near an abandoned TNT plant when their headlights caught a figure standing in the middle of the road. It was 7 feet tall, with a 10-foot wingspan folded against its back. Its most striking feature was a pair of enormous red eyes that glowed in the dark. The creature rose silently into the air and chased their vehicle, keeping pace even as the driver accelerated to over 100 miles per hour. These 4 witnesses didn't know the gravediggers, yet they described the same impossible physics and the same specific physical anomalies. After the local paper ran the story, 8 more independent sightings were logged within a single week. A resident named Neil Partridge reported strange static on his TV, followed by a sound outside. When he shone a flashlight into the dark, he saw 2 red eyes staring back. His dog ran toward them and was never seen again. The reports didn't come from just a few people. They came from a cross-section of the town. Volunteer firefighters, a nurse, a contractor, and police officers all described the same gray-brown creature. The sheer volume of identical reports from these reliable, unconnected citizens meant the sightings could no longer be dismissed as a hoax or a one-off misunderstanding. As the months progressed, the fear shifted from seeing a monster to experiencing a deep, internal dread. Witnesses began reporting unprompted, recurring dreams. Reporter Mary Heller was at the center of these reports. She realized that people who had never met were describing the exact same nightmare. They saw a dark shape over the Ohio River, screaming people and Christmas packages floating in the cold water. Eventually, Heller had the dream herself. She wrote to a researcher about seeing drowning people and floating presents everywhere in the river. She wrote that letter on November 19th, 1967, exactly 26 days before the bridge fell. In those final weeks, witnesses reported seeing the creature physically standing on the silver bridge or circling the structure. While the town thought it was being haunted, the data suggests they were experiencing a shared collective warning. On December 15th, 1967, the timeline ends. The silver bridge snaps and falls into the river. Rescue workers found the water filled with the same floating Christmas packages that had appeared in the town's collective nightmares for months. The most significant detail of the timeline is what happened next. The sightings of the Mothman stopped completely. The tragedy permanently merged the 13 months of supernatural reports with the physical reality of the collapse, ensuring the 2 events would never be discussed separately again. The mystery remains. Was the Mothman a literal harbinger of doom? Or was a community under extreme stress experiencing a collective, physical manifestation of its own rising anxiety? Modern Point Pleasant has embraced this history. There is a museum, a statue, and an annual festival that celebrates the creature. But the older residents who were there in 1967 don't always join the festivities. They remember the actual feeling of those 13 months, the phone calls, the shared dreams, and the red eyes watching from the dark. Regardless of what the Mothman was, the psychological toll and the documented timeline of those events remain a haunting part of the town's historical truth.